Discover the incredible love story, she vented to a stranger, unknowingly hidden millionaire boss. The rain fell like a curtain, cloaking the Chicago diner in a veil of silver. Inside, the aroma of fresh coffee and greasy fries danced in the air, mingling with echoes of laughter and clinking silverware. Emma, 27, juggled trays of food with grace, her heart heavy with the weight of juggling 2 jobs and caring for her ailing mother. The diner was her sanctuary and her struggle all at once, a vibrant chaos that she knew like the back of her hand. After a long, exhausting shift, Emma found herself leaning against the counter, soaking in the soft glow of neon lights and the buzz of late-night patrons. It was here she spotted Jack. He was an unassuming figure, tucked away in a corner, nursing a coffee as if it were a lifeline. Something about him prompted her to unburden her heart. She didn't know him, he didn't know her. Still, she quietly approached, feeling oddly safe in the warmth of his gaze. With the rain tapping a gentle rhythm against the window, Emma unloaded the dreams she had kept buried, how she wanted to be a chef, to own a cozy restaurant filled with laughter and delight. The words flowed with a desperation she didn't expect, revealing her soul a patchwork of ambition and heartache stitched together with determination. Jack listened, his eyes reflecting understanding and something deeper. He was captivated, he loved the fire in her voice, the passion that flickered amidst her struggles. Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. Their late-night talks became a comfort, a refuge where they shared laughter and filtered dreams, exploring the world through a lens of genuine connection. Emma was drawn to Jack's charm, his humor a balm for her weary spirit. He was different from the customers who only saw her as a waitress. With him, she felt seen, really seen, but just as their world began to shimmer with possibility, reality hit hard when Emma spotted Jack across the room of an upscale restaurant, greeted by a former colleague. Her heart dropped. The million-dollar smile, the designer suit, the weight of his true identity crashed over her like a tidal wave. Was their connection real, or was she simply a fleeting moment in his lavish life? As shock morphed into uncertainty, Emma found herself wrestling with questions. The disparity in their worlds now loomed larger than before. Did Jack truly care about her, or was he enchanted by the simplicity of their unfiltered chats? Was love strong enough to bridge that chasm? Their once cozy exchanges now felt fraught with tension, fragile whispers of what could be detoured by expectations and societal judgments pressing against them. Emma's heart raced as she stood at the precipice of a hard choice, awaiting Jack's next move. Would she let love in, or would pride push them apart? The future trembled before her, filled with possibility and fear, leaving her breathless, straining to know what comes next. Emma sat on the edge of her bed, the city's hum filtering through her cracked window. The rain had finally stopped, but her heart stormed with uncertainty. Jack's gaze replayed in her mind the way it had softened when she spoke, as if every vulnerable word painted a picture of her dreams. Yet now, that image felt tainted, overshadowed by the reality of his world. The image of him, pristine in designer threads, grinning with friends beneath chandeliers of an upscale restaurant, seemed to distort everything they'd built in the diner. What were they, really? A mere distraction in his grand, busy life. At work the next day, Emma's mind drifted, her usual rhythm disrupted. The sound of frantically buzzing orders from the kitchen felt dull against her pounding heart. Her co-workers, Mandy and Sarah, leaned against the counter, chatting about their weekends. Emma forced a smile, but her thoughts zigzagged back to Jack, his laughter, the warmth of his interest. Mandy nudged her when she caught Emma's faraway gaze. "Hey, Earth," to Emma. "You in there?" "Yeah, sorry," Emma mumbled, stirring her coffee, the bitter brew hardly touching her senses today. "You were daydreaming about him, weren't you?" Sarah teased, eyebrows raised. Emma's cheeks flushed, though it might have been due to the embarrassment of being caught. Who, Jack? No, just. I dunno. Just thinking. Mandy looked at her, eyes glimmering with mischief. Just thinking. Or just wondering if he can handle your world? Emma sighed. I don't know what kind of world he lives in. And I'm not sure he'd fit into mine that night. She closed the diner, the neon lights flickering their goodbyes as she stepped into the night. The air was crisp, fresh, an invitation to breathe in her aspirations and exhale the doubts. With a surge of determination, she decided to confront her feelings. She had shown her vulnerable side to Jack. Now, she needed to be firm about who she was and what she wanted. Pulling out her phone, Emma typed a quick message to him. Hey, can we talk? I need to figure some things out. Heart pounding, she hit send and let out a breath she didn't know she was holding. The wait felt unending. Minutes turned into what felt like hours until her phone chimed. Of course. I'd love to. How about tomorrow? As she read his reply, butterflies danced in her stomach. Excitement mingled with apprehension. Tomorrow, they would finally unravel the truth between them, their worlds, their feelings, everything. Would he still be the approachable Jack she'd met, or would the glimmer of his affluence overshadow their connection? In the quiet of her small apartment, Emma gathered her thoughts. She wanted to be honest but feared what might come of their conversation. If Jack was who she thought he was, kind-hearted and real, would he still choose her, the girl from the diner, the one chasing dreams amidst chaos? As she prepared for bed, her mind buzzed with the possibilities. Tomorrow would bring answers, choices, perhaps even a leap into the unknown. But what if the truth revealed was even more complicated than she imagined? What if love wasn't as simple as she thought? Emma lay back, staring at the ceiling, feeling the weight of the next day pushing down on her. The clock ticked away the minutes as uncertainty swallowed her hopes whole, leaving her restless. Would she be brave enough to grasp what could either be a chance at happiness or a step toward heartache? Emma woke up the next morning with a mix of dread and excitement churning in her stomach. The sun peeked through her window, illuminating the chaos of her room. It was a mess of scattered clothes and open books, reminiscent of her inner turmoil. She glanced at the clock, realizing she had just enough time to prepare before meeting Jack. As she got ready, Emma tried to shake the feeling of vulnerability clinging to her like a shadow. Choosing her favorite worn-out sweater and a pair of jeans, she felt a semblance of comfort in their familiarity. She didn't want to impress Jack with fancy clothes. She wanted him to see her, the real Emma, flaws and all. When she stepped outside, the city felt alive, bustling with energy. Each honking car and flurry of pedestrians seemed to remind her that the world around her was expansive, much like the feelings swirling inside her. She took a deep breath, letting the crisp air fill her lungs as she made her way to the cafe they agreed upon. The cafe was quaint, filled with the aroma of fresh coffee and pastries. Emma spotted Jack seated at a corner table, nervously tapping his fingers on the tabletop. His face lit up when he saw her, and for a brief moment, all her doubts faded into the background. Hey, you made it. He smiled, standing to greet her, his energy contagious. Of course, she replied, a hint of warmth creeping into her tone as she took a seat. They exchanged small talk, at first the weather, a recent movie, their favorite books. But as laughter warmed the atmosphere, each light-hearted comment only heightened Emma's anxiety about the conversation ahead. Jack's gaze turned serious as he leaned in closer. So, what did you want to talk about? His voice was soft, encouraging her to lay bare her concerns. Emma's heart raced. She fumbled over her words, trying to articulate the whirlwind of thoughts battling inside her. It's just. I've been thinking a lot about us. About our worlds, you know. Jack nodded, his expression turning contemplative. Yeah, I've been thinking about that too. He paused, searching her face. I don't want to create a divide between us. The petals of her resolve started to bloom. I love the way we talk, how comfortable it feels, but I worry that our lives aren't compatible. You're from a different place, Jack. I'm scared that when you go back to your world, you won't think of me the same way. He took a deep breath, his eyes fixed on hers, reflecting genuine concern and conflict. Emma, my life may seem different, but it doesn't change how I feel about you. I want to get to know all of you, this part of your world. His sincerity brought a flush of emotion to her cheeks. But you live among privilege, and I'm just. I don't know if I can compete with that. Jack leaned back, his brows furrowed. Compete? This is not a competition. I like you for you, not for what you have or don't have. Emma felt a flicker of hope ignite within her. His words wrapped around her heart like a gentle embrace. But, he continued, there is something I need to tell you too. The air thickened with anticipation. The weight of his unfinished words hung between them. Emma's pulse quickened, adrenaline rushing through her as she leaned in. What was he going to reveal? Could it change everything yet again? Emma, there is something about my life I haven't shared with you. The cafe melted away into silence, and her heart thudded loudly in her chest. Would this be the moment that unraveled it all, or would it weave them closer together? In that charged moment, Emma braced herself for whatever truth awaited her. Would she be ready for the revelation that could forever alter the course of their story? Emma's breath caught in her throat. A million questions whirled through her mind, the air around them dense with uncertainty. She could see the resolve in Jack's eyes, a mixture of determination and fear. It was as if he held a fragile gift in his hands, one that could either illuminate their path or cast a dark shadow over everything they had built. What is it? She managed to whisper, her voice barely breaking through the weight of the moment. In that instant, the world outside faded. The chatter of customers and the clinking of coffee cups became a distant hum. Jack took a deep breath, composing his thoughts, and for a moment, Emma feared he might pull back. But he pressed on, his fingers intertwining on the table. Emma, the truth is, I haven't been entirely honest about my life. I might not be who you think I am. A flicker of confusion crossed her face. What do you mean? He glanced around the cafe, as if searching for the right words among the busy patrons. I come from a different background than what I've shown you. I'm not just a regular guy working odd jobs to make ends meet. I've been blessed with opportunities and resources. Emma's heart sank. Was this the disconnect she feared? She tightened her grip on her cup, anxious to process his words. You're saying you're wealthy? The woven threads of their relationship felt suddenly taut, ready to snap. Jack nodded, his expression somber. I know it sounds strange. When we met, I wanted to experience life outside that bubble, to be treated like a normal person. But it doesn't change the way I feel about us. I didn't want to be defined by my wealth. Then why didn't you tell me sooner? Emma's voice shook slightly, a mix of anger and disappointment bubbling just below the surface. Did you think I wouldn't want to be around you? It's not that, he rushed in, his voice earnest. I was scared. I didn't want our relationship to be built on that. I wanted you to fall for me, not my bank account. Her chest felt heavy, emotions colliding inside her. She looked into his eyes, searching for the truth hidden behind those words. She wanted to be angry, to walk away, but something stopped her. There were moments of genuine connection that danced in her mind, shared laughter, whispered secrets. Could those still mean something even with this new knowledge? Jack, do you realize how this feels? I thought we were being honest with each other. If I was unaware of who you really are, how can I trust that our feelings are real? The vulnerability of her concerns released like a floodgate, and she found herself teetering on the edge of acceptance and rejection. Jack's face fell, and he reached across the table, his fingers brushing against hers gently. I know. I get it. But my feelings for you, they're real. Money doesn't change that. I'm here for you, for the person you are. Not for anything else. Emma's heart was torn. Could she believe him? Would she be able to embrace this part of him without the weight of outside expectations? Just as a teardrop threatened to spill from her eye, the clanging sound of the cafe door opening drew her gaze. A tall figure walked in, broad-shouldered and maintaining an air of authority. Emma felt a chill run down her spine. There was something familiar about him, a presence that seemed to zero in on their table. Her eyes widened as recognition struck her. The man looked eerily similar to someone from Jack's world, someone who belonged to a life she desperately tried to navigate away from. "Jack," she said slowly, her voice trembling. "Do you know him?" Jack turned his head and paled. What is he doing here?" The unease in the atmosphere thickened and Emma could feel their moment hanging by a thread. What new truth was about to unravel? The very foundations of their connection were at stake. "Emma, I need you to trust me," Jack whispered, urgency creeping into his tone. "This isn't what you think." But as a wave of panic washed over her, Emma couldn't shake the feeling that whatever was about to happen might change everything once again. Would this stranger reveal more secrets, or would they have to confront the truths they weren't ready to accept? The man stepped closer, his eyes scanning the cafe until they locked onto Jack. There was a glint of recognition, but it wasn't warmth that flashed between them. It was tension, like a stretched rubber band ready to snap. Emma waited, her heart racing, holding her breath as Jack stood up slowly, the chair scraping against the floor with an unsettling screech. "Dan," Jack said cautiously, as if the name itself might set off an explosion. "Nice to see you again, Jack," Dan replied, smirking slightly, clearly reveling in the discomfort radiating from their table. "Didn't he expect to find you here, slumming it with the locals?" Emma's stomach twisted. Slumming it? Was that how Jack saw her? A knot tightened in her throat as she glanced at Jack, searching for an explanation in his eyes. He looked uncomfortable, and the weight of Dan's presence seeped into their conversation, pressing down like a lead blanket. "Emma, this is Dan, a friend from my past," Jack said, keeping his voice steady even as she could see the flicker of unease pass across his face. "Friend?" Dan echoed, his laughter ringing hollow. "Yeah, I'd say that's a stretch. More like a reminder of the life you walked away from, right? You're not the same Jack I used to know." His eyes sparkled with malice as he continued, "So how's the normal life? Living out your little fantasy?" Emma could feel the embarrassment creeping up her cheeks. It was all crumbling around her. The reality of Jack's secret life was rushing in like a tidal wave, and she tried to keep her head above water. "Dan, why are you here?" she asked, her voice steadier than she felt. She couldn't let his bravado intimidate her. "I could ask you the same thing," Dan shot back, but his focus shifted to Jack. "You really think you can just disappear? Enjoy life as a nobody and then come back when you feel like it? Your old life doesn't forget." Jack's jaw tightened. "I told you to stay out of my business, Dan. I don't want any part of that world anymore. You think you can cut ties just like that?" Dan pressed, taking a step closer. "You're in deeper than you think, and it won't just let go. I came here to bring a message, Jack. You need to deal with your responsibilities." "Responsibility?" Jack snapped, anger flaring. "My responsibility is to the person I care about, and that's Emma." Emma glanced back and forth between them, feeling caught in a storm. She noticed the way Jack's hands clenched into fists, the way Dan taunted him. She needed to interject, to ease the tension, but words failed her as the heaviness of the moment suffocated her. "What do you mean? Responsibilities?" Emma finally asked, her voice trembling slightly. She looked at Jack, searching for any hint of the truth, any part of Jack that had been real. "Jack, what is going on? What is he talking about?" Before he could answer, Dan cut in, a twisted smile on his lips. "Oh, just the simple fact that wealthy families don't like to lose their investments. The moment you decided to break free from the chains of your privilege, Jack, they took notice." Jack's breath hitched. Panic flickered in his eyes. "That's not how it works. I want to let them drag you into this." "Into what?" Emma asked, feeling her heart race. What have I got to do with any of this? I can handle this, Jack said, though the tension in his voice told a different story. You just need to trust me. Please. At that moment, a wave of realization struck Emma. Could she really trust him after all the secrets? Jack was fighting a battle she didn't understand. This was no longer just a conversation about honesty. It was about a life Jack had tried to escape, but that now threatened to consume them both. Trust, she whispered softly, her heart racing. But as she looked at Jack, she knew the answer rested in her next choice. Emma's world had turned sideways, and it felt like a choice lay before her, a choice that could either shatter them or bring them closer than ever before. Would she dare to plunge into this unknown? As Jack and Dan's confrontation reached a fever pitch, Emma realized she needed to decide quickly. What was she willing to risk for love? Before she could find the words, the cafe door swung open once more, and another figure stepped in, a woman who, by the elegance of her attire and the familiar look in her eyes, looked all too much like someone from Jack's past. Emma's heart sank further. Who was she, and what damning secrets would she unveil next? The woman paused just inside the cafe, her presence commanding, as if the air shifted with her entrance. Emma felt the weight of the room's attention turn towards her. She had striking features and an aura of confidence that made Emma painfully aware of her own vulnerability. Jack's expression shifted from anger to shock, then to a mask of composure that betrayed nothing. Evelyn, Jack said, almost a whisper. He looked like he had seen a ghost. Emma's heart raced again, battles fought within her. She wondered who this Evelyn was, and why she seemed to hold such power over Jack. The tension thickened like a storm cloud, clashing against the fragile peace Jack had tried to establish. Jack, Evelyn replied, her voice smooth like silk, but it had an edge sharp and ready to slice through the atmosphere. I didn't expect to find you here. With company. Her gaze flickered to Emma, evaluating her with a keen look. This isn't a good time, Jack said, his voice clipped, eyes narrowed. Oh. But I was just getting to the exciting part. Evelyn peeled back her smile, revealing a smirk that made Emma's skin crawl. You've been summoned, dear Jack. The board isn't happy with your little escapade. They want you back. And the longer you ignore it, the worse it'll get for you and anyone you care about. Emma felt trapped, like a deer caught in headlights, every instinct telling her to flee but her feet firmly rooted. The stakes were rising, coursing through her veins. What do you mean by summoned? She questioned, trying to sound steady. Evelyn's gaze sharpened. Oh, Jack has a destiny, Emma. A family legacy that doesn't accept absences lightly. You're in the middle of it now, and you better brace yourself. Stop it. Jack interjected, stepping protectively in front of Emma. She could see the lines of tension in his shoulders, the way he shifted his weight like a barrier between them. You can't drag her into this. Evelyn threw her head back and laughed lightly, but there was a coldness to it. It's too late for that. She's already here. She's yours, and you can't hide from the truth. Her gaze was unyielding, boring into Emma as if calculating her every reaction. Emma felt the burden of Jack's past weighing heavily on her heart. Is this true? She demanded, turning to Jack, searching for answers in his eyes. Is this the life you walked away from? A legacy you cannot escape? Emma, please, he started, but Evelyn cut him off again. You'll have to decide if you can handle it. If you can love him through the chaos he has brought into your life. Her voice dripped with condescension, as if she believed Emma was destined to fail. Jack reached for Emma, his hand brushing against hers, and the warmth of that gesture sparked something deep within her. There was love there, she felt it, but it was wrapped in layers of fear, secrets, and shadows. I want to let them hurt you, he vowed, gripping her hand tighter. But doubt crept in like a fog. Could she really be strong enough? Suddenly, Emma's heart felt raw and bare, exposed to the world. Do you really believe that? Emma asked, catching the flicker of panic in his eyes. "You're fighting a battle I don't understand. After everything, how do I trust this?" Evelyn smirked, clearly enjoying the turmoil. "You're a bystander in Jack's grand tale, Emma. Choose wisely." The cafe felt small, the walls pressing in as Jack's fate hung in the balance. Emma had never faced a choice as monumental as this: to love, to risk everything for a man tied to a world of wealth and danger, or to walk away before being pulled into the storm. Before she could answer, Jack stepped closer, his voice low yet passionate. "I need you, Emma. But not just for my sake. For yours too." Just then, a familiar sound echoed from outside, a rumble of thunder. Light flashed across the cafe, illuminating the faces around them. Uncertainty crackled in the air, a storm brewing outside echoed the turmoil within. As Emma looked from Jack to Evelyn and back again, she braced herself. Her heart thudded with questions. How much was she willing to risk for love? But deep down, she felt it growing, a sense of empowerment, a spark igniting within her. What would she choose? The moment of truth was upon her. Would she pull Jack back from the brink, or would she let him go? And in that brief silence, another figure appeared at the cafe entrance, this one more imposing than the last. Emma's breath caught as she recognized yet another piece of Jack's puzzle, and it left her reeling. Who was this new arrival, and what role would they play in the chaos already unraveling? The new figure strode into the cafe with an air of authority that flooded the room with an unsettling energy. Tall and strikingly handsome, his dark hair framed a chiseled jaw and piercing blue eyes that scanned the crowd until they landed firmly on Jack. "Jack," the man said, his voice deep and smooth, but there was an undercurrent of tension. "We need to talk. Now." Jack's expression shifted once more, this time revealing a hint of alarm mixed with determination. He stepped away from Emma, and for a moment, she felt adrift, as if the ground beneath her had suddenly vanished. "Can't it wait?" Jack's voice was strained, and Emma could see him wrestling not just with the man before him, but with the storm surrounding both their lives. "No, it can't," the man insisted, crossing his arms, and the tension in the room sharpened to a point that felt almost tangible. "Who are you?" Emma demanded, the question bursting forth before she could think twice. She felt her heart race again, but this time it was fury fueling her pulse. She refused to let another imposing presence dictate the narrative of her life. "James," he replied, throwing a glance at Jack before turning his attention back to Emma. "I'm part of Jack's world, his past. And believe me, you'll want to understand who's involved if you're going to be with him." Evelyn watched with that unsettling smirk, as if she enjoyed every word. "Understand what?" Emma challenged, her eyes narrowing. "You all act like there are secrets buried beneath layers of drama, but I refuse to be a pawn in anyone's game." Jack's eyes softened, filled with a love that both thrilled and terrified her. "Emma, I didn't want you to get dragged into this. It's dangerous, dangerous. You think I don't understand danger? I've faced my share. You brought me into this when you chose to open up your life to me," she shot back, her tone fierce but raw. Clara had always taught her to stand her ground. James interjected, "You don't know what you're stepping into. The board isn't just mad about Jack's absence, they're ruthless. You'll need to be ready, both of you." "Ready for what?" Emma asked, frustration mounting. "What, are you all part of some mafia? Some secret society? Just tell me." Suddenly, Evelyn laughed, a sound that sliced through the air. "Oh, Emma, you couldn't be farther from the truth, but it is thrilling watching you unravel the mysteries." Jack gripped Emma's hand, and she felt the warmth seep into her skin, igniting a flicker of resolve deep within her. "You have every right to know," he said, his voice steady. "But I promise I'll protect you no matter what. If you stand by me, we can face this together." Emma's thoughts raced. How did she even make a decision now, with chaos swirling around her like the storm raging outside? Jack was brave and beautiful, but was she ready to follow him into the eye of this hurricane? "Will you trust me?" he asked, searching her eyes for the answer. She hesitated, the enormity of it striking her heart with a mix of hope and dread. Thunder banged, and a flash of lighting illuminated the cafe, casting sharp shadows that danced and shifted echoes of the turmoil inside Emma. "I have to," she finally whispered. "But you have to promise me honesty. No more secrets." Jack nodded, and she could see the relief washing over his features, though the fear still lingered in his eyes. Yet amidst the storm of their emotions, Evelyn remained poised like a predator waiting for just the right moment. "Then let us see how you fare in this little game of power and legacy," she taunted, a wicked smile plastered on her face. "You may just find how hard love can be when it collides with reality." Emma felt the walls closing in, panic flooding her senses. How deep were the roots of this legacy, and could love really thrive in such a chaotic environment? As another clap of thunder echoed outside, shaking the cafe, Emma prepared to step into the storm headfirst. But what awaited her might be far more than she bargained for. And just when she thought she had gathered her resolve, another sound broke through the chaos. A phone buzzing insistently. It belonged to Jack, and as he pulled it from his pocket, his expression shifted from concern to sheer panic. "Emma, we need to go. Now." What had they just walked into, and could they really escape this storm? Jack's grip on Emma tightened as he ushered her toward the cafe's exit. The storm outside seemed to merge with the turmoil brewing inside him. With every step, Emma could feel the air growing heavier, each heartbeat echoing against her ribs. She glanced back at James and Evelyn, their faces a mix of intrigue and menace. Casually, James pushed his dark hair back, his eyes never leaving them. "You can't run from this, Jack. They're already out for blood." Jack's face hardened. "I'm not running. But I want to risk Emma's safety because you want to put on a show. We're done here." Emma could hear the fear in Jack's voice, a dangerous whisper wrapped in the thick tension of the moment. As they burst through the door, rain poured down in sheets, washing over the pavement, sending up small bursts of mist. "Get in," Jack said, motioning toward his car parked just a few feet away. Emma hesitated, recognizing the desperation in his voice. She felt a chill as she recalled the weight of James's words. "Out for blood, Jack," she started, but Jack already pulled her close, shielding her from the rain with his body as they raced to the vehicle. He fumbled for his keys, the shaking of his hands betraying his calm facade. Once inside, the reality of their situation crashed over her like a wave. She focused on the world falling away through the drenched windshield. The cafe faded into a blurred backdrop, just as her comfort started to slip into the unknown. "Where are we going?" Emma asked, her voice barely above a whisper. "Somewhere they can't find us," Jack replied, his voice steady but laced with concern. The car roared to life, cutting through the storm that mirrored their turmoil. Emma noticed how Jack's jaw clenched as he maneuvered through the rain-slicked streets. The tension between them was electric, both thrilling and terrifying. "I won't let them hurt you," Jack said, glancing sideways at her, his determination glowing. "No matter what happens." Emma felt an odd mix of admiration and dread swelling in her chest. She had jumped into the deep end with Jack, but this was a whole different level, a kind of danger she didn't quite understand. "Tell me everything," she insisted, her heart pounding louder than the rain on the roof. "I can't be in the dark about this. I deserve to know the truth." Jack's grip on the wheel tightened, the knuckles of his hand pale against the dashboard. He took a deep breath, the memory flickering in his eyes. "It's not just about us. There's a powerful group aboard that I used to be a part of. They don't take kindly to being dismissed, and they're ruthless when it comes to loyalty." A chill ran down Emma's spine as she drew in a sharp breath. "Is that why you left? To protect yourself or me?" The question hung in the air, heavy with realization. Jack cast a brief glance at her before facing the road, a mix of regret and determination painting his features. "Both. But I can't keep running from them. That's why I need you to trust me now more than ever. Sweat dampened his brow, the rain washing over the car, blending surface and substance. Emma could see the conflict in his eyes, the oppressive weight of his decisions. I want to, she said softly, but I don't want to be in danger, Jack. I've faced enough in my past. They reached a red light. Jack's brow furrowed as he fought against the storm outside and within. This is the test for us. Either we face it together, or. Emma pressed, fearing to hear the answer. Or I lose you, and I won't allow that. Before she could respond, Jack's phone buzzed again, relentless in its urgency. He cursed under his breath and picked it up, his expression tightening as he read the message. It's from James, he said, sliding the phone back down. He knows we've left the cafe. Panic bubbled again in Emma's chest. What does he want? To bring you back. It's more serious than we thought. Jack's eyes burned with the heat of someone fighting against fate, and Emma felt the storm pulling them deeper. Do you think we can really face this? She whispered, fear creeping into her heart as the rain poured down around them. Just then, the light turned green, and Jack thrust the accelerator down. We will fight for our love, he declared fiercely. After all, it was built to survive chaos. But as they sped down the street, another car loomed in the rearview mirror, its headlights cutting through the dark like sparks igniting a fire. Emma, hold on, was the first test of their bond too explosive to break. Jack's heart raced as the headlights bore down on them. The pursuit had begun. He swerved, glancing at Emma, whose wide eyes reflected a mix of fear and determination. Something primal surged within him, fueling his resolve. He wouldn't let anyone hurt her. Keep your head low, he instructed, adrenaline sharpening his focus. Emma followed his command instinctively, her pulse screaming in her ears as Jack slammed the accelerator down, the engine growling defiantly. The road blurred around them, the rain hammering the windshield like 1,000 fists trying to stop them. With every turn, he felt the aggressor's car closing in, a predator stalking its prey. Jack! What are they going to do? Emma's voice trembled, slicing through the chaos. Nothing if I can help it, he grunted, weaving through the slick streets, mind racing to devise a plan. This wasn't just about running, it was about fighting back, about taking control of their fate. That he spotted a poorly lit side street up ahead. Hold on. He jerked the wheel, splashing through a deep puddle that sent a curtain of water flying across the road. The other car reacted predictably, chasing recklessly, gliding into the corner directly behind them. They plunged down the narrow alley, shadows darting past like ghosts. Jack's fingers clutched the wheel so tightly his knuckles turned white. We need a place to hide, he mumbled, scanning their surroundings. Suddenly, Emma gasped, there. That parking garage. Jack followed her gaze. A decrepit structure loomed ahead, the entrance dark and inviting. Without hesitation, he dove into the underground depths, cutting the engine and plunging them into silence except for the sound of their heavy breathing. Did they see us? Emma asked, eyes darting around. I don't know, Jack replied, his voice barely above a whisper. He reached for her hand, his grip reassuring yet tinged with urgency. We have to stay quiet. If they're looking for us, Emma nodded, squeezing his hand, drawing strength from their connection. The world outside felt miles away now, an echo of danger muted by the oppressive concrete walls around them. Minutes felt like hours as they hid in the dark, each sound amplified the faint hum of distant traffic, the drip of water from the ceiling and the rising fear within them. Emma could feel her heart pounding, her hand getting clammy in Jack's. Jack, she started, uncertain but needing to voice the pressure mounting inside her. Tell me, he urged, eyes fixed on the entrance, alert, unwavering. What if they find us? The vulnerability in her voice cut through the tension. A flicker of uncertainty crossed Jack's face. We'll figure it out. Together. Emma took a deep breath, steadying herself. I don't want to lose you. He turned, meeting her gaze. The intensity in his eyes burned bright, filled with a mix of love and steely determination. "You won't lose me." As if the universe were testing their resolve, a loud sound echoed through the garage, an unmistakable rev of an engine. The other car had entered. Jack's body tensed, an instinctive reaction to the threat. He pulled Emma closer, the moment soaring with unspoken promises and fears. "Stay low," he whispered fiercely, wrapping an arm protectively around her. A creeping silence fell. The sound of footsteps echoed, heavy and deliberate. Jack's breath quickened as they strained to listen, desperate to gauge how close danger had gotten. "Do you think they'll find us?" Emma trembled, barely able to voice the question. "We can't think like that," Jack replied, his voice low but firm. "We have to stay strong." But doubt gnawed at Emma's insides. What if their love, forged in fire, couldn't withstand the storm brewing outside? Suddenly, Jack's phone buzzed again. It was a new message, flickering to life in the dark, and Jack's face paled. "It's from someone I wasn't expecting," he said slowly, dread creeping into his voice. "What does it say?" Jack swallowed hard, trying to keep the fear from breaking through. "We might not be in this alone anymore." The air turned electric. With one ominous message, their fragile world began to unravel. "Is that good or bad?" Emma whispered, her heart racing. "I don't know," he admitted, staring at the screen, feeling the weight of the unknown pressing down on them. Just then, the footsteps drew closer. And their true test of survival began. The footsteps echoed through the garage, drawing closer, merging with the pounding of Emma's heart. She felt small and vulnerable in Jack's presence, yet a stubborn determination surged within her. "We can't let them find us," she whispered, the conviction rising in her voice like a tide. Jack nodded, his expression fierce as he trained his focused gaze on the murkiness ahead. He knew the threat was real, but what left him breathless was the thought of being separated from Emma. The invisible ties of their connection formed a shield against the fear spinning inside. Could it be James? Emma's voice trembled, thoughts racing. Jack hesitated, his phone still glowing ominously in his hand. "I don't know," he said slowly, clenching his jaw. "But whatever it is, it's likely tied to my past." Suddenly, the footsteps halted just outside their hiding spot. They could hear the muffled murmur of voices. Two figures loomed in the shadows. Jack pressed Emma to him, urgency pooling in his gut. "Stay quiet." The voices grew clearer. One was a deep baritone, laced with irritation. "He can't hide forever. We know he's down here." The other voice, sharper and cockier, belonged to Dan. "Don't worry. We'll find him. He's in way over his head." Emma inched closer to Jack, their breaths shallow and synchronized. Fear mingled with adrenaline, every moment stretching painfully long. "What do we do?" she whispered. "Hold tight," Jack replied, his filled with determination. He grabbed a metal pipe lying beside him, a makeshift weapon, though he hoped they wouldn't need to resort to that. Minutes felt like lifetimes as the two men searched the shadows. Emma's heart ached as she caught snippets of their conversation. "This isn't just about Jack," Dan said to the other, a cruel edge in his voice. "It's about sending a message. They want him back at any cost." "Not if we can help it," Jack murmured fiercely, squeezing Emma's hand. Suddenly, Emma's phone buzzed incessantly in her pocket, the noise sharp against the tense silence. In one quick movement, Jack reached for it, but it was too late. Dan's attention snapped to the sound like a hawk spotting its prey. "Did you hear that?" he barked. "Search the area." Came the response from the other voice. Jack's body tensed, and Emma's insides twisted with panic. "What if they find us?" she gasped, feeling the walls close in. "Prepare yourself," he whispered back, resolve hardening within him. "No matter what happens, they won't hurt you. We face this together." In a calculated move filled with desperation, he grabbed Emma's hand and began to lead her deeper into the shadows. The exit lay ahead, just out of sight, and with a rush of adrenaline, he propelled them toward it. They slipped around the corner, the voices fading behind them as they dashed down the dimly lit corridor. The moment they stepped into the light outside, a bolt of relief flooded Emma's heart, but it was short-lived as her eyes fell on a vintage car parked at the entrance, one that looked remarkably similar to Jack's, but with unmistakable features of the past he was trying to escape. "We can't stay here," Jack said urgently, scanning the street. "We can't trust anyone right now." But just then, the figure of James emerged from behind the car, his demeanor unyielding. "Jack," he called out, feigning calmness, though his eyes held an undercurrent of dread. "You can't keep running forever. Go away, James." Jack's voice was a low growl. Emma felt Jack's tension radiating into her, but she stood taller. "What do you want from us?" she demanded. "We're not your pawns." James smirked, dark amusement dancing in his eyes. "You're more than that, Emma. You're a key interest in Jack's story now, whether you like it or not." "What does that even mean?" Emma fired back. "He's not your property. He left your world, did he?" James interrupted, holding his ground. "You think he can just cut ties and walk away? There are repercussions, and you're both standing in the thick of it." Jack's fists clenched, fury boiling just beneath the surface. "I won't let them control me again. I'm fighting for what I want." "And what's that?" James challenged, stepping closer, the air thick with tension. "You think you can really have a life beyond that boardroom? You're mistaken." In that heated moment of confrontation, Jack turned, eyes locked with Emma's. "I'm fighting for you and for us," he declared. The decision culminated in his voice, rising above the chaos around them. "I'm done running." Jack took a step toward James, confronting his past with the strength Emma had come to admire. "If you're here for threats, you've chosen the wrong man. I've rebuilt myself from nothing. And I'm not afraid anymore." "What's your plan?" James retorted, clearly shaken but refusing to back down. "Fight us? This isn't a game." "Then let me handle it," Jack replied, confidence blooming in the wake of his bravery. He turned to Emma, his gaze softer yet fierce. "This isn't just my fight. It's ours." James scoffed, but the edge in his stance slipped just a little. "You think you can protect her from the realities chasing you? You're in over your head." Emma felt exhilaration surge through her. She reached for Jack's hand, intertwining their fingers' solidarity in that fierce moment. "I won't hide anymore. If Jack faces this, I face it with him." Jack fought the urge to smile, and the defiance surged between them, emboldening their connection amid the chaos. Suddenly, a car screeched into the alley, lights flashing, and Dan flung open the door, a satisfied grin on his face. "Looks like your little fantasy of freedom has come to an end." But this time, Jack wouldn't let fear dictate his choices. "You may have the numbers, but I have something you don't hope and love. We'll never back down." The showdown unfolded in that charged moment, the air electrified with endless possibilities, the same hope that flourished in the diner, and then, through the darkness, Emma felt a warmth spreading through the chaos, a surge of courage rising from the depths of her heart. "What matters is not where you come from, but where you're going." With that, she stepped forward, standing side by side with Jack as they faced their dual shadows. Together, they would carve a path into the future, ready to embrace whatever challenges lay ahead, fueled by the love they had ignited in the diner's warmth. Love that could withstand any storm, and as the rain began to clear, a new dawn shimmered on the horizon, one filled with endless possibilities and hope. But first, they needed to face this undeniable truth. Emma turned to Jack, eyes bright with determination. "Let us do this. Together." "Together," he confirmed, and their hands clasped tightly, an unbreakable bond ready to face the chaos and thrive amidst it. As they turned back to confront the oncoming storm, they were ready to rewrite their own story, no longer mere players but fierce architects of their destiny. Emma knew in that moment, love was worth the fight, and she was ready, now, let's make the most of this adventure. Don't wait not even one more second. Subscribe immediately to the channel to not miss the next exclusive stories. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm because it really makes a difference. Comment your reactions and feelings about this ending. And share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation. You need to subscribe now. This is the moment to show your support.